And Mr. Doughty, we are ready.
Good evening. Welcome to the District 225 Board of Education meeting. Madam Secretary, would you please read the roll?
Mr. Doughty.
Here.
Mr. Glowacki.
Present.
Ms. Mullenbeck.
Here.
Mr. O'Hara.
I'm here.
Mr. Shine.
Present.
Item 2 on our agenda is approval of the agenda for this meeting.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Doughty.
Yes.
Ms. Mullenbeck.
Yes.
Mr. Glowacki.
Yes.
Mr. O'Hara.
Yes.
Mr. Shine.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
So good evening, everyone. Welcome back after our break. Hope it was relaxing for all. I know we're now in the swing of things, heading towards exams and moving to the end of the semester. That's always exciting. And then we'll be looking forward to spring and things will move along. This evening, after community comment and our board and superintendent reports, we will have a consent agenda and then 2 regular topics are intergovernmental agreement regarding library services. I believe it's in Glenview. And then we'll be talking about new course proposals. Thank you all for joining us this evening, as always, here in the boardroom as well as online. We always appreciate that. Item 3 on our agenda is recognition of community visitors. Do we have anybody from the community who wants to speak to us tonight?
No visitors.
No
tonight,
visitors.
or public comment.
No public. Thank you. Just as always, we emphasize how much we appreciate public comment, whether it's here in the boardroom or coming in between meetings by email or in person or over the phone, whatever it works. We always appreciate input from our community. It's incredibly important. So thank you for all people who do that at various times in various ways. Item 4 on our agenda are board and superintendent reports. Dr. Johns.
Thank you, Mr. Doughty, and welcome back, everybody, and Happy New Year. It's great to be back in the swing of things, although it does feel like we're a little rusty, but it's good to have a shorter agenda to get back into the swing. I have just a couple updates before we have the building updates. We have 3 publications that are becoming available or have become available that I want to call to your attention. Coming in our next board meeting, about the time of our next board meeting, is the next issue of the Glenbrooks magazine. It is, we distribute this biannually, and you don't have a copy yet because I just have the advanced copy. It's special for me, but you are going to love it. This is an incredible document. There's great stories in here. There's super information about our students and our staff. There's some real inspiration in this, and I think you'll enjoy having a chance to go through this. It really highlights the great work that our staff does every day for our students. And I'm really proud of this. Thank you to Carol Smith and her team for their great work. On your place setting in front of you are 2 other documents that I think you'll find very valuable and helpful. These were put together by Dr. Gravel and his team, and these are exceptional. I think these are some of the best versions of these 2 documents that I've seen and stop. And I'm really proud of how this looks for our district. I'm proud of Dr. Gravel and his department's efforts on putting together the budget and brief that takes the morass of school finance and makes it nice and simple and, quite frankly, attractive. So thank you for that work. And then also the PAFR, the Popular Annual Financial Report, is also available. These are not generally distributed. We have them available here in the building and all in the buildings. And this information is available online as well. So I believe the PAFR is a required document from the state that we put out. We're not required to have such an attractive version, but we're glad to do it because it shows the attention to detail that is important in the Glenbrook. So Dr. Gravel, thank you for your efforts. Ms. Smith, thank you for your and your team's efforts of making the Glenbrooks really showcasing the great things that we do. So thank you for that. We do a lot of great things in our buildings as well. And so we have both of our principals today from GBN. Mr. Bild, I believe you're doing the GBN update.
Thank you. The winter break was extremely busy for our athletic teams. First, the varsity boys bowling team won the CSL Conference Championship. They finished first in the regular season and backed up with an impressive tournament this past Saturday, securing the title. It was a complete effort by our varsity members. Kai Nitsky won the CSL tournament individually, and we had 3 other players, Nick Sachs, John Sachs, and Asher Harris, all finish in the top 10 as well. Our girls varsity basketball team won the St. Viator Holiday Tournament over break. And for the first time, the team has won this tournament really for the first time since entering 8 years ago. The girls follow that up by hosting a basketball clinic for middle school and junior highs girls from Northbrook. The boys basketball team took second at the Wheeling Hardwood Classic with Josh Friedman, Sam Lappin, and Owen Giannoulias being named all tournament team. This past Friday, the boys beat New Trier before a packed gym. And this afternoon, packed gym, the afternoon game brought alums and many high school basketball enthusiasts out to watch the game. Currently, we're in sole possession of the first place in the CSL South. The wrestling team also competed against New Trier on Friday afternoon, winning a thrilling dual meet 39-38 on Saturday. Our varsity wrestlers placed 6th out of 19 teams at the Geneva Invite, with 6 individuals placing the top 5. Also, Aurelia Dobin, a 9th grader, has represented GBN in several girls wrestling events, and she has won 2 tournaments so far and has a record of 20-3. And finally, on the academic front, Sarash Nagar, class of 2020, and Harvard class of 2024 is one of 51 American students to win a coveted Marshall Scholarship to study in the UK at the college of their choice. Sarosh, an economics and chemistry major, plans to study innovation, public policy, and public value at the University College London for 1 year, and then study global governance and diplomacy at Oxford University for the 2nd year.
Thank you, Steve. So prior to winter break, students at Glenbrook South also had the opportunity to participate in a variety of experiences related to the 4As, but there's one in particular that I would like to showcase. And it was our Winter Music Assembly. Each year, this assembly showcases our tremendous music program in District 225 to all of the students at Glenbrook South. I have to say, it was an incredibly profound experience. I know you got to enjoy the chamber singers, but this particular assembly also showcases the rest of the musical programming, including the district orchestra. And if you didn't get a chance to witness it, the final number was so profoundly moving, I had chills. And, you know, when you're looking at multiple assemblies of adolescents, for many of them experiencing culture like this for the first time, it's incredibly meaningful to watch them engage and see their peers creating such beautiful art and music. So I just want to say I'm very proud that the Glenbrooks continue to invest in these programs and continues to value cultural experience like this for our student body. I'm going to actually share a lot more district-wide updates this evening. We have quite a few things going on right now at this critical part of the school year. Today, we actually started the course selection process across the district for all students. And over the next month, all students in District 225 will connect with their school counselors and their parents and guardians to review their 4-year plans and their post-secondary goals to determine which courses they're going to take next year. It's a critical process to ensure that students are taking a moment to assess where they are, determine if they're on track with their goals, and it allows us to have the data we need to be able to make some critical staffing decisions to staff the building for the 24-25 school year. So I would like to give a shout out to the Student Services Department at GBN and GBS. This is a profound undertaking, and it will consume the entire month of January for those critical teams. But for me, my most favorite part of this process is we get to welcome our incoming 8th graders that will become our incoming freshmen next year. We're preparing for 8th grade curriculum night, activity night, and athletics night to be able to showcase to our new families everything that the district has to offer. Their joy and enthusiasm of being able to walk in their high school for the first time is probably one of my favorite moments as a school principal. And we're just looking forward to the next generation of Titans and Spartans coming to these hallowed halls. Finally, all students are about to embark on final exams. It's approaching at the end of this week. This is a really important time in the academic year where students are able to demonstrate their proficiency in their courses. It gives our teachers a clear understanding of the progress that they've made. So starting Friday, students are going to go through an adaptive schedule. They'll take approximately 2 exams a day based on their individual needs, and that'll take place over 4 days. So by the next time that we come together here at this table, it will be the start of semester 2, which is amazing to think that. We're so proud of our students and all of their progress this semester, and we can't wait to see how they're going to conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Doughty. That's it for our updates tonight.
Thank you for all those updates. It's great to hear all the different levels of news. Board members, anything you want to share at this point? Terrific. We'll move to item 5 on our agenda, which is our consent agenda. Dr. Johnson, any changes?
No, there are no changes to any of the items for this evening.
Entertain a motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion or questions? Hearing none?
Mr. Doughty?
Yes?
Mr. Glowacki?
Yes.
Ms. Mullenbeck?
Yes.
Mr. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr. Schein?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
And now move to our discussion action agenda. There are 2 items tonight. The first is an intergovernmental agreement. Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Doughty. If I can direct your attention to item 6.1, the intergovernmental agreement with Glenview Public Library. This is a project that our education services team under Dr. Adrezi's guidance has been working on with the Glenview Public Library to create an intergovernmental agreement so that our staff members can have access to the library. Dr. Adrezi, you have some details you want to walk the board through?
Yeah, we have been working with Lindsay Dorfman over at the Glenview Public Library and our librarian at Glenbrook South. And we have put this agreement together that our teachers have individual library cards. Right now we have those, but they have to go through our Glenbrook Library to pick it up. Now every teacher would be equipped with a library card and they can get physical material and digital material from our Glenview Public Library. So it's a wonderful opportunity for our staff and I look forward to having that in place. More access within the community to material is always wonderful.
Which has the added benefit of enabling our staff to understand the materials that are available to our students outside of the school so that we can expand the walls of instruction outside of the school day, maybe to make recommendations for students, and et cetera. It's a great example. I'm really pleased that we're doing this of 2 governmental bodies coming together to share resources for the benefit of, in this case, our students, but ultimately all staff members. So this is all we need this evening is an approval for this item after there are questions and answering. And then we sign it. We're ready to move forward.
Okay, so no, do we actually need a vote then on this? Or?
We don't need to have a vote tonight, but we could. Otherwise, we bring it back at the next meeting for consent.
Okay, fair enough. Board members, questions? Mr. Schein?
Just a comment, when you have a library card to Glenview, it also opens up all of the other libraries that share with Glenview. So Wilmette, Highland Park, Northbrook, it's a big cohort and they share the collections. So it goes, beyond just Glenview. Once you have the card, so to speak, to any of them, you have access to all of them. And you can take materials from any of them. They'll bring them to Glenview. You can drop them off in Glenview or any place, and then they kind of handle the rest of that, which is really, really nice.
Just had a related question. I know while they share the resources, there's certain resources at the library, but they do not share mostly in the STEM areas and stuff. Each one has their own lab. Northbrook has one, and I understand Glenview does as well too. Is there an agreement similar to this that we have in place with Northbrook? Just to, I know through the sharing program they would have access, but was just curious.
Yeah, we already have an agreement with our Northbrook Library.
Awesome, thank you.
Any other questions over here?
Actually, the agreement doesn't expire or anything, right? Once we put it in, it just,
Correct. The one from Northbrook does not expire, and this one would also not expire until further notice.
okay, thank you.
It's good. I just want to say that I think it's a great idea. Having seen a presentation some years ago at the Northbrook Library, I'm sure it's similar at Glenview. The resources are staggering. What's available? I have that old think of old books and magazines, and that's it. And it's amazing what's available. And I know our own libraries have great resources, but to expand that horizon for our teachers is that much better. So thank you for doing this. It's a great idea. With that, any other questions? Okay. Consent or no?
Yeah, let's bring it back for consent, just to
Okay.
keep the process rolling.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Great work. That moves to item 6.2 on our agenda, which are new course proposals. Dr. Johns.
It is a long-held value of the district to make sure that we have meaningful, valid, and engaging curriculum for our students. And as part of that process, we go through a regular process of review in which we take recommendations for changes, review the materials that are used in our classrooms and what's working and what's not to ensure that we always have our best foot forward for our students in the classroom. Ryan Bretag has been instrumental in this review process. He'll walk us through the steps and share with us the latest updates.
Good evening. Thank you. This year, I'm proud to say we have 6 new courses coming forward. So in your handout or memo that came forward, you'll see 2 different categories, new courses and then information only. So we have 6 new courses, but we also have a number of courses in the information only. What's important for you to recognize, our process is twofold. This is part of the curriculum improvement process you will hear about over the next couple months. But as folks and departments are working through their curriculum work, they are also unfolding areas for growth within courses, within their instructional strategies. And what you see tonight is very much tied to the coursework that they're having a key focus on. While you'll also notice in the information only, those are courses that they've found to be needing slight updates, subtle updates in the areas of title changes that better reflect what the course is about or needs from colleges, or level changes such as who gains access to those particular courses. It's important to look at those from the lens that we've done great work this year where both North and South have come together. So you'll see that that number is a little bit higher than normal in those changes, because North and South coming together, talking about what are you doing? What could we benefit from is really reflective in that information only area. And that continued work you'll see over the next 2 years. From that standpoint, we have 3 wonderful ISs here tonight that can share a little bit more about their particular classes. I do want to emphasize, while these 6 courses are from South, most of them, the ones from interior design, is going to be moving forward at North in 25-26. So Dawn Hall and her colleague Mary Kozrock worked really well together. Dawn is going forward first in that arena, and then Mary Kozrock at Glenbrook North will be following suit in 25-26. And then in the science arena with the TLS courses, Stacy Wolf, as you're aware, is now the instructional supervisor in that area. She will be working with the North team to establish a direction for them that's very similar to this on paper. So while it does seem South heavy in terms of those courses, North has been heavily involved. So I'll field questions.
Dr. Johnson, anything you want to add?
Just really pleased with the work that we're doing here. I think you're seeing more conversation across Willow Road than we've seen for decades here. And I think that that captures the value of the brilliant minds that we have in the classroom and in leadership, sharing innovations, ideas, successes, lack of success, coming together so we continue to put our best foot forward, but really capitalizing on that, the equity of the professionals we have in the district. So I think this is working in a good direction for us to go.
Excellent. Board members, questions? Yes. Mr. Clark.
Quick question regarding some of the new programs. I know you mentioned we've got to start somewhere first, and we're starting at GBS and everything. If there's students that in the meantime could benefit from some of these classes that are at North, are there arrangements that they can make to participate in these?
Yeah, absolutely. In regards to these specific this year, that would be on the books coming this fall. There are equivalents at Glenbrook North. For instance, with the interior design, North has a fashion and interior design. So they're working, how do we separate those 2 out? So there are still some options for folks there, but specifically when you look at.
Yeah, I was concerned a little bit more about the multilingual, because
Yeah,
that takes a little more resources and everything to do appropriately.
Correct. So with those, we'll make sure the services are available for students. As you may or may not be aware, our multilingual population at Glenbrook South has more than doubled. So that's why North has kept an eye on that. But a great example would be your AP African American Literature, or excuse me, Studies class. That one is not being offered at North. North did a study with their student population interest. There wasn't one that would garner the need for that class. However, should a student desire that, we have opportunities for them at South.
Wonderful.
Yep.
And I do appreciate the alignment that you're between the titles and everything, because I know during summer school it becomes much challenging when kids try to sign up to here in this district usually get ahead and open up free periods, but then they're making that change in their curriculum and stuff. It gets a little confusing sometimes whether it meets or doesn't meet a requirement at the school. So I think that'll help.
Yeah, I think you will see a very robust information only next year.
That's good. Other questions, Mr. O'Hara?
Ryan, you probably explained already, but what does TLS stand for again?
Yeah, that is, I actually wrote it down because I tend to forget it as well. It's teaching life skills. TLS, teaching life skills.
Okay. And I guess, how does TLS chemistry differ from chemistry, just from my understanding?
Absolutely. So TLS is our program. I'm sure you're familiar with the student population that is in our TLS program. So the difference is, where is it taught? How is it taught? But what really was the key emphasis, and as you'll look at, if you dive into Jeff's report on this, what was really important is to align it to exactly the sequence that science provides for all students, so that the sequences align where it wasn't before, but that there's the teachers in there have the specialty to work with that population of students.
Thank you. And then for the multilingual,
Mhm.
I know it says multilingual, and I know that we have a couple of languages that are major within GBS, you know, Spanish, Korean, and Mongolian as well. So when it says multilingual, that's actually for all three or more if necessary. Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Mullenbeck, any questions? So,
The multilingual courses, does it require any additional training or other staffing types of support? Thank you.
Yes. So we're very much in the work and process on that. That is something that requires different certifications that are, quite honestly, around the state. There's a struggle for that. So we've set up, last year, we set up a cohort of folks to go through a process to become certified to teach these. And then we're continuing that effort.
So in doing that, Mr. Bretag, there's no budgetary or FTE.
Correct.
Those folks are just part of their development.
Correct.
And I know I heard the answer. I know we meant, Mr. O'Hara mentioned 3 of the languages. We have a host of other languages. Are they all supported, or is it just particular ones for the MLL ones?
Yeah, they're all supported, but the primary ones that were mentioned is where the emphasis becomes.
Okay, but if somebody has another
Yep.
language, we'll find a way to support that
Exactly.
student. No, I
Exactly.
think that's good. And I just want to applaud one more time the north-south alignment on this, because the more we're able to do that, we're not trying to create identical schools. They both have their wonderful traditions and cultures, but at the academic level, it's good that we can learn from each other and share. So thank you for that effort. It's very important. Other questions? Okay, so this will come back on consent.
That's correct.
Okay, we'll see that as well. Thank you, folks, for joining us this evening, and thank you, Mr. Bretag, as well. With that, we move to item 7 on our agenda, which is the summary of our meeting. We did not have any community visitors tonight. We did have board and superintendent reports. We got our 2 brochures on the budget and the financial report, as well as a teaser on the Glenbrooks coming out. We heard good reports on athletics and a name from 4 years ago about winning a Marshall Scholarship, which is always wonderful to hear. That kind of preparation started here in the high school and in our district, and or was part of that formation. It's wonderful to hear that kind of success. The musicality we got to hear about as well, which has been a rich tradition in our district for decades. And Dr. Georges, thank you for your sharing of that experience as well. The course selection process is also ongoing, and the 8th graders come in. It's the ongoing process of our bringing our students along through our community, and that's good to hear about as well. We then also had our consent agenda, which is approved and not with any changes. We discussed an intergovernmental agreement regarding a library arrangement with Glenview Public Library, which would be similar to the one we already have with Northbrook, which expands our resources. And finally, we had new course proposals, which will come back on consent on the 22nd. Item 8 on our agenda is find it. Possible topics of future meetings. Do let Dr. Johns or me know any of those potential topics, and we're happy to entertain them. And our next meeting will be on the 22nd, as I mentioned, at 7 o'clock here in the boardroom. Item 9 is closed session. We do have closed session tonight to consider the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. Collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, and litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting. And discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed under this act, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or the semi-annual review of the minutes is mandated by section 2.06 pursuant to sections 2C1, 2, 11, and 21 of the Open Meetings Act.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Doughty,
Yes?
Mr. Glowacki,
Yes.
Ms. Mullenbeck,
Yes.
Mr. O'Hara,
Yes.
Mr. Schein.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, we'll take 3 minutes and go on. action regarding topics discussed in closed session. The first one regards 10.1 destruction of verbatim tapes of closed sessions of meetings held in June 2023 through November of 2023.
I move that we approve the destruction of the verbatim tapes of closed session meetings between June 2023 through November 2023.
Second,
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none?
Mr. Doughty,
Yes.
Mr. Glowacki,
Yes.
Ms. Mullenbeck,
Yes.
Mr. O'Hara,
yes.
Mr. Schein.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Item 10.2 regards the confidentiality of minutes.
I move that we retain the confidentiality of the closed session minutes of meetings held between June 2023 through November 2023.
Second,
Any discussion? Nope.
Mr. Doughty,
Yes.
Mr. Glowacki.
Yes.
Ms. Mullenbeck,
Yes.
Mr. O'Hara,
yes.
Mr. Schein.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Item 11 is adjournment. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Happy New Year.